Alright, guys. Okay, so let me. Oh man, I was gonna set up my pen here. Give me 1 second. Hold on, let me put this up quick. So let me. Whoops. Try to get the chat up just in case somebody wants to chime in. I know it's morning. Okay, people probably still falling asleep. Alright, so that's that. All set, and then need to plug in. Plug it in. Hey, what's up, line? No, how you doing today? Hope you're doing well over there. Okay, got my stuff. Goodness. Crazy. Alright, let's see. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Job search? Tailor your resume to the role with Microsoft 365, now with Copilot.
Goodness, you guys, what's happening over here? All of this. It's called a growing pain of live streamers, you guys. I'm telling you. This is hard work. Hey, what's up, Einstein, Sharon? Welcome. Thank you. Okay, give me 1 second. Let's enjoy this song here. Ooh, let's get hyped.
Going to the fucking moon. Going to the fucking moon. Going to the fucking moon. Fuck Andy, cause we're holding on for dear life, getting damn tandy so soon. Don't be mistaken, the apes won't be shaking or breaking. We're going to the fucking moon. One day, very soon, gonna wake up on the moon. Brand new yacht and a McDonald's in my living room. Bright yellow Lamborghini, 50-meter swimming pool. Champagne every day, ain't fam, what you do? Wanna hang, wanna chill? Oh, you got a mansion too? Oh, that's right, held on tight, jack titties every night. We was in way back when they tried to chop it down to 10. And she couldn't comprehend, Ace was strong until the end. Now let's retell it, shit to tell they be sweating. Had enough of these felons, but the Ace we rebelling. Cause we never be selling, till we send it to heaven. Now we be out here yelling, hey fuck you Kenny. Bought my wife a minivan to share with the boyfriend. But I pull up in the Benz, plate saying Olive Crayons. Going on an airplane, don't think we'll be back again. Celebrating every day like a fucking birthday.
Go ahead and just
fuck Kenny, cause we're holding on for dear life, getting damn tandy so soon. Don't be mistaken, the Ace won't be shaking or breaking. We're going to the fucking moon. Fuck Kenny, cause we're holding on for dear life, getting damn tandy so soon. Don't be mistaken, the Ace won't be shaking or breaking. We're going to the fucking moon. probably more manipulation. FUD, a creation of a crooked operation. Bought more while it was low, got more dips than Trader Joe's. Oh, you thought that we'd let go? What the fuck you take us for? Holla if you spend your last dollar on bananas while living in squalor. We don't claim to be scholars, we the smooth brain dummies, and we never stood taller. Yeah, we do this for love and we do this for honor. Apollo 11 ain't got nothing on us. We the planet of the apes and in MOS we trust. MOASS, hell fucking yes. Gonna send it into space, go fire up the jets. Done my DD, call me Elton John, Rocket Man. This is the way, gonna be gorillionaires. Ground control to Major Tom, we about to have liftoff. Call us Neil Armstrong, gonna keep holding on. Fuck any, cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them tendies so soon. Don't be mistaken, the apes won't be shaking or breaking, we're going to the fucking moon. Fuck any, cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them tendies so soon. Don't be mistaken, the apes won't be shaking or breaking, we're going to the fucking moon. We're going to the fucking moon. We're going to the fucking moon. We're going to the fucking moon.
Let's fucking go.
All right, let's go, you guys. Okay, I'm trying to get my doodling. I haven't doodled for quite some time, so let's doodle together. Oh no, this is not it. What the heck is this? Okay, I am trying to get my pen going on again, but I feel like it's not working. It's not cooperating. You guys, I'm telling you, growing pain, growing pain. Okay, let's go to the blackboard. Okay, turn into a whiteboard. Hope everybody's doing well today. Good morning to all of you. All right, so this is working, seemingly. I feel like, yeah, so today we're just gonna talk about a whole bunch of stuff, mainly Bitcoin, obviously, you know, the best investment of your lifetime. Okay, I think if I turn it to pen mode, it's probably better. What the heck is this, you guys? This is terrible. Okay. Okay, come back. I think a pen mode is a lot smoother. All right. Okay, so sorry about that. I should set this up way in advance. Why is it not doing its own thing? All right, so let's talk about okay, so we're on. All right, so let's start the show. Everybody's doing good. Oh wow, 12 in the midnight, Lionel. You should be in bed. You should be going to sleep. Don't worry about the show. It's okay. You don't have to be here. But anyway, appreciate you. Einstein, almost afternoon. Okay, cool. All right, everybody's here. Okay, so let's talk about the price of Bitcoin real quick, because again, that's all people, care about, right? And let's get it out of the way before we talk about the bonds and the convertible notes and all that stuff. So I have different perspective on a bond situation here. But again, just reiterating a few people points and what is going to affect GME price point, right? Because again, price is all what people are seeing on the surface. They don't really understand what is going on behind the wall of buy orders, sell orders, or whatever, right? So I'm going to try to explain why certain things happen, and anyway, the best way I know how. And then the future of GameStop as a company versus the price action and all that stuff. So it's going to be a long day, so buckle up, okay? Well, I don't know. We'll see how much energy I have. Let's talk about it. Okay, so this gentleman has been talking about GameStop in the perspective of M2 money supply. I don't know, again, if this is his own analysis on things, but the other person that I noticed talk about the M2 money supply in respect to, global liquidity that will kind of push the price of any asset class up. I mean, it doesn't have to be Bitcoin, obviously, right? Any equity, any valuable company and all that stuff will also kind of go along with what the M2 money supply is, right? And so these are not future data. The M2 money supply, as you see over here, is offset by close to 3 months. Okay, so 108. And the way that the M2 money supply is a global liquidity, it just measures the amount of money slushing in the economy. So that's typically what it is. And so this already happened, this chart right here in the yellow. Okay, so it's not like, oh, there's a future data or anything like that. It's happening. But what people have noticed is that if they do the price, like kind of offset it ahead like that, they notice the correlation between the Bitcoin price action here, and it kind of match, right? If you look at the orange. So if you want to watch the gentleman, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but typically that's what he's also kind of look into different time frame of offsetting. He was looking into the 70 days offset versus 107 days, 100 whatever, again, to try to match up the price. Obviously this is speculative, right? But it's uncanny to the price of anything in relation to the M2 money supply. So I'm sure if you match it with GME, right? GME is a little bit wonky because there's an added layers of manipulation here. So, that's why you see you see like the option chain and all that stuff being manipulated as well. So it's a bit skewed, obviously, but with Bitcoin though, it seems like it's following that natural supply and demand. Okay, and so because again it's on the blockchain and all that stuff, so if anyone want to short Bitcoin, right, the only way that they could do it is through the ETF. And since ETF, it hasn't been kind of entrenched in the market quite, I guess deeply, the money is not slushing in there, right? Just my logic. You might not see the type of manipulation that you see in the stock market. And again, there's so many tools that they could do nowadays too, to try to spook people out in and out of the position. They could spook it up too, meaning that they're enticing you to buy at a high and then sell at a low, at a loss, because it's just so painful for you to even hold on to your asset. And that's why, again, if you don't understand something, do not invest in it. Only invest in something that you understand. In which case you understand, okay, the reason why the price is down is because, either people just naturally not aware of what the price is, that's what the market is telling you, that they are just underestimating, the price of something. That's why, they sold. Or they're just taking profit, that could also be naturally happening as well. But anyway, so with this particular model, there is an expectation that Bitcoin will go up in the future by May 1st. Obviously, again, this is just like, it's not an end all be all, obviously. So it could happen anywhere before that. So the good rule of thumb is that to, accumulate as much as you can before that happens, right? Of course, none of this is set in stone. Obviously, it depends on how many market participant wants to participate in Bitcoin network and, learn how much are they learning about it. The fund manager, wealth managers out there are setting themselves up to recommend to their clients, rich client, to at least put 2 to 3% or 2 to 5%, the allocation. It's not a question whether they are going to. It's like, oh, you should or should not. The question now is how many percentage. So that's bullish to me, right? Because no longer the discussion is that, oh, it's a risky asset anymore, right? And so, I mean, even Larry Fink, right, the BlackRock CEO, go out in the press saying, hey, right now we're recommending people to at least allocate 2% of their wealth into Bitcoin network. And if that were to happen, then Bitcoin would go up to $700,000 a coin in a day. Again, in a day, right? If all of the people agree to 2% allocation, that's huge, you guys. That means that, we're early, and the fact that GME is setting up for that as well, the share price is going to be crazy for sure.
Shocks down, basically.
Okay, sorry. So this guy has, I've watched him before. He used to be the quant trader, meaning they trade in and out using computer and, it's like skimming off the top and all that stuff. But he does a lot of trades based on, but now he's just like nomadically moving from place to place. But anyway, so he has a YouTube channel if you want to check him out. In this one, he's talking about how the option market could really, tell where the price go. I mean, typically, right? Of course, it's not a perfect measurement of something, but with Bitcoin, you could really predict the price based on that. So his opinion is that, whatever the price is, that is on the screen right now is just the agreement between two people, right? Okay. Right now on the market, Bitcoin is at 82,000.
Analyze market.
And let me see. Hold on, guys. Let me see. Okay, so Bitcoin went down in price, and oh man, this is a great opportunity, right? I keep saying that. But oh my goodness, can you imagine? What if the tariffs comes April 2nd, right? The announcement bring the price of Bitcoin down to again, this is just going to be temporarily, you guys. Like the people are freaking out about tariffs and all that stuff. It's going to sort itself out. Market has its way of doing that. As long as you're not freaking out and selling out of your, position, hopefully you would have enough to, to survive the day to day. And that's the point. That's why the emergency fund is very important, right? So that you could weather the storm like this, where people will get faked out and then they get so scared that they don't even want to be in the stock market anymore, or equity market, or into Bitcoin, because somebody told them, hey, it's gonna go higher, and then they're like, well, why is it down? It's like, I'm out of here, right? When they lose 10%, 15%, 30% of their portfolio, they're like, I can't handle it anymore, and then they left. And then immediately after, what happened? Inevitably, right? It's gonna skyrocket back up, right? No matter what, obviously, the name of the game is to stay long enough for you to benefit on the upside. Okay. So back in, when was the Corona dip? Right here. No, that's not even Corona. Right here. This is Corona dip. I remember seeing this. By the time I realized this, it was already this price already. So that's when I bought in. But, looking back though, during the Corona, I was busy with life, you guys. Like, I was like, oh man, had I realized, because I knew about Bitcoin since around over here, right? I didn't have enough money, to get in, because I didn't work at the time. Very small amount of money that I was able to kind of accumulate based on, my job situation and all that stuff. But again, inevitably, life happened. You just forgot about it, and you're not really paying attention until the news break out. That, of course, like, I was so lucky to even kind of learn about it in the anytime there's a breakout like this, Bitcoin just leaves escape velocity type thing, right? And it does this because of the stock to flow. Every 4 years, diminishing in supply, supply and demand. The more demand it is, right, the more people coming in. It's just a network effect for sure. Like, tech stock is like this too. You have people just, initially people didn't really agree with what Bitcoin was. Bitcoin is a scam. Bitcoin is like, whatever the narrative was at the time, to try to convince you that it's not a good asset class even, or to not even think of it as an asset. Think of it as a, just pump and dump scam and all that stuff. And I really think that Ethereum was created to distract people from, the real asset. Of course, like, this is just my opinion, obviously. My sentiment. It's a psyop for sure, right? Because now Ethereum, why do you think Ethereum was giving a green light, even though it has a, initial coin offering, which is acting like, IPO? And so the SEC at the time gave a green light between the two, and, screw everybody else, including XRP. So if you think about that, it's like they are deliberately picking winner and loser to try to distract you. And of course, to give a competition to Bitcoin as well. And so, yeah, I mean, depends on which narrative you believe in, right? You would be hard pressed to know that, okay, if you believe that Bitcoin is a scam, you are missing out on the greatest gain of your life. Obviously, I was in it too. It's getting harder and harder now to acquire one Bitcoin. Think about that. And so it's only going to get worse from here. It's going to go to get more expensive from here. Okay. And like I said, I regret selling my Bitcoin ever. That was the worst trade of my life. Right now, I only have a small amount because now I bet on XRP, because I think XRP has a better narrative. And again, I'm not telling you guys to do it yourself. Just be careful, if you invest in something, make sure you understand what it is, and, come with your own conclusion. Because again, if the price comes down, right, and you don't believe in it, you're going to feel like you're making a mistake, right? Even though it is the best opportunity to buy more, okay? And again, that's human psychology, right? based on the price action. People feel so exuberant, like they would love to buy over here. Love it. Oh, it's gonna go to 100,000, right? When it was over here, oh, it's 100,000, right? And then they just get smacked down, and it's over. Can you imagine being over here, right here, down 54%? I mean, sorry, 56% in a matter of what, and then only to feel so bogged down, but then a couple of months later, you go rip back up to 100%, 120%. I mean, I'm telling you again, because there's so many global people. Again, Bitcoin is global. Like, the demand is always there, and people will more likely to buy from you at any price, it seems. Okay, so you could say the greatest fool theory type thing, right? But I don't think so. I feel like this is the technology that is a instant settlement system where you get settled instantly, with gold, right? Unless you buy Fiscal gold, in your possession, you don't get the settlement system, that works for regular people, because it's built in a complexity. That's why they keep like kind of hide it from you. I mean, if you invest in GME, you understand where the swaps and all that stuff, and that's why it's so confusing to people. And because they can. So I saw your DD. Yeah, I'm gonna read up on it, because it's a bit I feel, I know it's a bullet point, right? But my mind is like, and anytime I see words on the screen, I'm like, too much. I get numbers more though. But thank you so much for that, Didi, though. Hey, what's up, Awakened Sheep? Oh, Didi Queen. No, I'm not a queen, you guys. I am a princess. Okay, a princess. It's a little more spoiled than that. No, just kidding. Thank you so much for joining. All right, so but anyway, so go back to the price action. Just again, good rule of thumbs, right? My whole thing about Bitcoin is that I know security risks and all that stuff, right? That's what because I can kind of like put out in that DD there, but I feel like eventually, because the asset class is getting so big now, that people are going to try to protect it, because if it's becoming more and more valuable over time, which it will be, right? What is the estimate now from Sailor? In 30 years, it's going to be $500 trillion asset class here. In 30 years. No, 30 years, sorry, 10 years. Did it? No, sorry. 55, yeah, 55. 2055. The year 2055, so 30 years from now, it's going to be $500 trillion, because it's going to compete with every single companies out there. Okay, it's akin to that. It's an asset class that is so quick, so fast. Okay, and so again, the demand's gonna come, and people are not gonna understand why the price is so high. Just like right now, I'm telling you, nobody in their right mind 10 years ago would tell you, oh yeah, it's gonna go to $100,000. And if you say that back here, people would laugh at your face. It's like, these idiots, like. And now we are, and people are like, okay, they think it's going to go to 1 million? Well, yeah, it's going to go to 1 million. It's a matter of time. How long? We'll see. There's a lot of bullish news, enough bullish news for this cycle for it to reach $1 million. I'm telling you, it could happen in that a snap of a finger. 10x. Now, why am I not buying Bitcoin? Well, because I think XRP has a better narrative, even more bullish narrative than that, currently, obviously, right? And it's low enough market cap that it only takes a certain amount for it to reach $100 a coin. Not to say that this cycle will reach $100 a coin, but I'm waiting for it. Any amount of anything that is above $2 right now. What is it right now? XRP. Oh, 110. All right. I know. It's painful, I guess. If you bought it over here, it's painful. But let's see. It's going to follow what Bitcoin is doing. Of course, every single market it works like that because Bitcoin is used to convert into other coins, and typically when it's a sentiment thing. Okay, that's why they move kind of with each other. The way that the crypto market works is that right now, if you want to convert Bitcoin is like a store of value in the crypto world, right? Yes, the value fluctuates. Just think about it, it's as a stable coin, a stable store of value. So typically when, altcoin season and all that stuff, people move from Bitcoin to other altcoin. And so when Bitcoin kind of like teeter down, people tend to kind of move from like sell altcoin to go back into Bitcoin, right? So again, the dynamic is like that. And that's why every time Bitcoin goes down 1%, right? People are like, oh, I'm going to sell my altcoin and go back to Bitcoin real quick just to preserve my, value. Yes, Bitcoin will go down, but not as much. And so that's how they move it back. Because again, before this, stablecoin was not really around. So now with the invention of stablecoin, people could move back to the stablecoin, and typically people just again very fearful, of Tether and all that stuff. So they would much rather move to Bitcoin rather than move to Tether. Okay, so there are, yes, a small portion will move to Tether because they I guess trust the network. There's like tens of billions of dollars in Tether right now in the market cap. So there are people who trust that, but again, because of the opacity of the auditing, they do their own audit and all that stuff, and they don't really tell you what the Tether hold, but typically they buy US Treasury for that. That's the rumor. Who knows? Disney princess. Thank you. Okay. Well, according to the Simpson, Bitcoin will be infinite value. GME would go up to $1 trillion and $2 trillion on the same day. Hey, I wouldn't be mad at that valuation. But it is the start of the day since it can go to $1 trillion in one day. Yeah, I think everything would be breaking down at that price. The whole market has the ability for that to happen. What is the start value on that day? 1 to 3. I don't know. I think it's gonna happen over time though, because again, just the way that the market is structured, I'm sure they're gonna have to print so much more to make that happen for GME though. Because again, the complexity is that how many swaps are used and how many counterpart of risk is going to go bust because of that. And there are large institutions here that do not want to lose money because that's not their money to lose. They use other people's money, okay, to make their bill to make their own salary, make their own wealth. And so when those principal diminishing, they typically go to the Fed, the lender of last resort. And they've been doing that for the last 4 years, ever since GME has been, around the whole, 2021. Who knows? I mean, how many trillions are out there? I mean, based on Grok, right? Grok was telling us that $1.1 billion up to 1.1 billion, not dollars, billion shares of GME exists. So what gives? Why is there a billion shares when the company only have 400 million? See what I mean? So that's twice the float that is floating around. But the low estimate was like 230 million shares. Yeah. But anyway, so let's listen to him real quick. It's short enough video to kind of go a little bit more, but yeah, a different perspective for sure.
Stock, we know for a fact by rules and regulations that dividend amount is going to come out of the stock price. So when we price the options, for example, with mathematical certainty, we can reprice the options by removing the price of the dividend out of the option. And so when someone says, oh, the price of Bitcoin is going to be here in the future or there, if what they're saying is true for the reasons they say it's true, the price would just jump there immediately in that second that information came out. Yet it doesn't. What does that tell you about the reputability of that information? It means that information is speculative at best, and the way that information will impact the price of Bitcoin is speculative at best. And so most of these grifters online are simply taking speculations and repeating them back to you confidently. And that's the grift. I'll tell you how you should price Bitcoin and how you should think about these things and where the ultimate true source of the best information on Bitcoin exists. And it's free and it's right in front of you. You don't have to pay for a course for it. The best information on Bitcoin or any crypto or any asset class, in fact, is right in the market itself. For anyone who understands how to analyze markets, they know this. And it's because the price of a free-floating asset is always priced most efficiently based on where the most deep-pocketed people have pushed the price. So if there are more buyers than sellers at any one moment, the price of it will go up because there's an asymmetry on the bid and the ask. Now, unless you're going to look at the different levels of a market and you have access to that kind of price information, there really isn't that much more information to extract from the underlying asset class. But where there's a heavy depth of information that I find few people are knowledgeable about is the options market. The options market has way more layers of information that tell you things about the underlying asset class. And so there are options to almost everything. There's options to the S&P 500 and individual equities like Apple. There's options to commodities like crude oil, wheat, corn. And there's options to Bitcoin and other crypto assets like Ethereum. And so what do the options markets tell us about these asset classes? Well, for one, let's start with the S&P 500. The S&P 500 has a volatility smile that's often described as a volatility smirk. It's shaped like a mirrored Nike check where out-of-the-money puts are much higher than the out-of-the-money calls. This makes a lot of sense.
And this is the opposite of GME, right? Smirk or whatever. So if you look at GME, right, it's the opposite direction. I think this is what he, and this is where remember the negative data come from, or delta come from, is that, like that smile. The S&P is the other way around, where the puts are more expensive to buy, okay, while GME is calls are more expensive to buy. And it's designed that way so that you are like, 80 to 90% of the time when you buy calls, you are skewed the other way, meaning that it's against you. Okay. So, they give a heads up or advantage for people who sell calls, right? Of course, selling call, I'm not advocating people to sell call. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that this is the advantage of, and who typically sell calls? Think about this, okay? That's why they sell naked call to you, because they know that, the advantage is to them. And so all you have to do is just worry about the price tick to tick. And since they know how to kind of spook the price down and all that stuff, they're more likely to win It's rigged, that's for sure. I mean, you could see it. I don't have to tell you, but again, that's why, again, the opportunity is for people who buy and hold shares. It's just an advantageous, right? You have to find the advantage. Depends on what market participant you want to be. If you want to be a option trader, obviously, yes, you're the 1% who could like time the market just right when the price spike because of the swap situation, dates on all that stuff, right? Yes, you could strike rich, but you have to know how to read those tapes, right? Most of us don't have that type of, intensity to be like tracking day to day, right? And again, just because people bet on it to go up, it doesn't mean that it's going to go up, okay? Typically, it could happen that way, but because of the market maker, the rerouting, ability for market maker to just forget about the buy orders on the lit market, people don't get to take advantage of that price movement, even though there's a high demand for the stock itself in the dark market. Okay, so who has the ability to trade in the dark market? Retail? No, of course not. It's the institution out there. And so, yes, the wall of money's coming in. It's just that you won't see the effect immediately until they're ready to let it rip. And I think it's closer to that point. Just like he was saying, Kenny, the most favorite guy, he was saying, we have these smart people, fund managers out there. The reason why the market is so efficient is because we set the price of security. That, in a nutshell, is called price fixing, which is illegal. You shouldn't be able to do that as a, entity. Because if that's the case, why not, if you think that GME is at $10, every time I go buy GME at this moment in time, they should deliver it to me at $10. Why do I have to pay $20 per share on the market right now? You see what I mean? And so again, it's bullcrap, right? They're just creating term to, scam you. Like, nobody should have the ability to set the price. I don't care how smart you are, because again, human is unpredictable, and it should be based on supply and demand. Simple, right? If people wants to pay for $100 a share on GME, let them. I mean, if you think it's overvalued, okay. I mean, do the best you can to borrow that share and sell it to the market at 100, right? And if you borrow somebody's shares at 100 and it goes up to 200 and they want that share back, you have to buy it back at $200, right? Doesn't matter how overvalued that is. But because you're so confident that it's going to go back down to $2 a share, you borrow at 100 thinking that you are going to go rich when GME go back to $2. Right? So that's a dynamic that we're facing right now, because there are institutions out there who are so egregiously confident that GME should be at 10, that they're willing to borrow more than the float of the company to do so. To, every time people are buying at 20, they borrow it and then sell it into the market. How do I know? Well, look at it. Look at the short volume. So to the tune of how many shares in the last 3 days? Close to 100 million shares being shorted to the market, right? Are these retail? Are these retail people? Doubt it, right? I mean, could be the dumbest one, sure. Sorry, you guys. I'm too mad. I'm too mad. Sorry. Let me bring myself down a little bit. Nah. In a joking manner, though, you're not stupid. I'm just saying that perhaps you just don't realize what you're holding right now, because you think that GME is overvalued at $20 a share. I assure you, in the next 5 years, good luck trying to find GME at $20 a share. I feel sorry for you if you think that GME is going to be like at this price forever. Sorry. Excuse me. Did you see Moran's post? Fair value. Yes, I saw that one. Of course, Bloomberg Terminal, right? Because I feel like, I guess it's based on the calculation of the demand, hold on, let me see if I could find that post. Excuse me. Yeah, so I found it over here. Right there. So this is what, because I can talk about right there. 1 second. Okay, back. Okay, so let's see. Yes, so the fair value is $111. Cheapness, not quite sure what this means, so I don't know. Implied volatility is still at 56. That is really low for GME, because I've seen a lot like 100% and all that stuff. So 50, yes, it's high for some other company, but for GME it's really low. The delta percentage and all that stuff. So these are parameters that, you know, option traders usually use to, you know, price their own, you know, bets up and down, both. Okay. Bond floor, not quite sure what that is. So again, this is like reserved for people who knows how to read this thing. Gamma, right? So that's another, you know, remember you've heard about gamma squeeze. Gamma squeeze is just a rate of change or something like that. I need to learn about that one. But it's just market makers just continue to hedge and all that stuff. So, but yeah, we don't really care about that. That's not our headache. You know, the headache, this is the headache of the people who are shorting this thing to oblivion, right? For us, the simplest way to do it, again, my opinion, okay, in my opinion, the most advantageous way to win in this particular situation is to be a long-term shareholder, okay? Again, I'm just saying. No financial advice, but I'm saying, if I were me, you know, knowing this situation full well that, you know, there's certain manipulation here, and with this smile, okay, the smirk or whatever it was talking about, it tells me that somebody doesn't want this share price to go up, and there's a reason for that. And it makes it difficult for this stock to go up and stay in the value that it should be. Just like what the post was saying, right? Fair value should be at $100 a share right now. And if you look at the definition here, it means that the possible price that is determined after looking at the supply, utility, demand, and the amount of competition for that. People want shares of this company. I don't care how many people are like saying, like, oh, nobody wants this company, it's so stupid. Who told you that? Do you see the data? Do you see the numbers of like people flocking in? Now that we have, you know, another strategy, you know, to go to keep, quote unquote, keep the company alive. No, GME doesn't need this strategy to keep the company alive. GME used this strategy to kick out unwilling participant, which is shorters. People who are just here to manipulate the price rather than, giving the price its fair, value or whatever. Just trading based on the economic principle. This is economic principle. Supply and demand. That should be the use of it. Now, utility refers to the shares that is available to short or something like that. And if there's no shares available to short, then the utility is going to be 100%. The lesser utility, the more shares is available to short. At least that's what I kind of intuitively thinking about utility. And then the competition too. How many people are wanting to compete for that one share at that price, right? So that, again, the definition is there, and I agree with that. Of course, just the demand alone, right? The demand alone would give GME that. Now, that demand's going to happen more and more now, because now we have different type of traders too. Okay, of course, Tony De Niro, that guy. Who cares? Okay, so this is a hedge, interactive broker CEO. And this was said 4 years ago when all of that was happening. Market was kind of, everybody was talking about GME as a meme stock, right? So let's listen in here.
Let's just start with this simple question. How close we were to this system breaking, something failing? How close were we, Thomas?
We were frighteningly close on January 28th when we had 50 million registered shares. At the same time, we had 70 million shares short and 150 million shares short via short call options. So if the call options had been exercised, the shorts would have had to deliver 270 million shares, while only 50 million shares existed. So as the rules are today, the long broker has to, if he can't get the shares, he has to go into the market and buy the shares at whatever the price is. So that could have pushed the price further up into the thousands. When that happens, obviously the shorts cannot pay up. So the brokers, they default on the brokers default on the clearinghouse, and the whole thing is a huge mess that's impossible to untangle. So
yeah. So what he's referring to there is that, typically market maker at the time, again, because they so egregiously arrogant that they know where the price of something is, because they're smart, right? They're the smartest people in the room. They're like, GME would never go to this price point. That's their demise, right? Because they think that they could predict the unpredictable here. So the unpredictable is that they don't realize that, an army of retail investor who are believing in the company, long term here. We're a long-term shareholder. Of course, we believe in the company's success. But at that time, it was so egregiously so that they were shorting the company to oblivion, thinking that it will never do something, right? And when you say would never do something and you have a catalyst, like Ryan Cohen coming in, buying, 12% of the company at the time, in stages. Okay, and then you have Rowan Kitty talking about it, again, to a handful of people. I mean, I'm not quite sure. But I think people just pile in right afterwards. Rowan Kitty just saw the opportunity and he took it to, YouTube to talk about it. Saw the opportunity. It's like, hey, there's a lot of shorts over here, but I don't think the company's going to go bankrupt. And then now you have a catalyst of Ryan Cohen coming in, the possibility of the company's, having some value here. It's going to help a lot. And of course, people give craps to Ryan Cohen raising money right at the top, but that initial share offering, at the top, keep the company alive. That's what the freaking market is all about, right? That's what the public market is all about, is for the company, to raise money from the public in order to, use that money to survive later on. And the people who bought into GME at, $100, right? Right here. See, people who bought GME at this price, for whatever reason that they are, were told or whatever, they bought it with the, I guess some people bought it because of short squeeze, right? They want to squeeze the short or whatever. But some people bought it because, maybe the company's going to be successful from now on, obviously, right? But the majority of people, I'm sure, bought it because of the short squeeze here. Okay. And so to me, that's the wrong reason to come into this company for. And people who bought down here, yes, they risk, it was a higher risk at that time because, yes, as successful as Ryan Cohen is, there's still a chance that he might fail, as a CEO, leader, or whatever, or the industry itself will not be surviving the downturn. Doesn't matter how smart the CEO is, right? So again, the risk back here was tremendous, okay? Riskier to buy at that time. So that's when Ryan Cohen bought in. That's when Roy and Katie bought in, call option and all that stuff, right? And the rest is history. And you could say, well, he's just lucky. Well, maybe, but maybe he's just a risk taker, and he's just so convicted in his, in his analysis on this company, the short interest and all that stuff. He's willing to put money where his mouth is, right? Because of his conviction. That conviction could come and bite you in the ass too, right? But it worked out for him. It's inherently risky, but with high risk comes high reward. And he got rewarded, for sure. Till this day, I'm sure he's lurking right now at the moment. I'm telling you, look at this. Look at this amazing thing. I mean, $21 a share? Can you like? I can't even believe they do that. But okay, how low can it come down? Maybe down here, $20 a share. So if you ever see 20, oh my goodness, that's why. At 20, that's more than 50% equity at this moment in time. Okay, so yeah, be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna transition to bond pretty soon, but I know I'm just all over the place here.
The status quo is that everyone is working together and growing their company, and earnings should slowly go up. They're using technology to improve the efficiency of their companies, and all things being equal, earnings should go up. GDP should slowly grow across productive countries. And, well, we're talking about the S&P, which is the United States. So there's a slow grind up, but these violent shocks down. And the violent shocks down are basically surprises that are bad news that lower expectations for future earnings in companies. Tariffs, for example, this directly impacts earnings. I won't get into the politics of that and whether that long term that's good or bad for the economy, because that's not what this video is about. But tariffs create a shock to the potential earnings of corporations, and uncertainty around future tariffs and whether things will escalate increases volatility, because volatility is uncertainty. It's basically future price uncertainty. That's why the shape of the vol smile for equities is shaped like that mirrored Nike check. It's expected to go up, all things being equal. And then here and there when bad news comes out, it has these shocks down where uncertainty and volatility of the asset class goes up until that uncertainty starts to calm down, and then it starts to grind back up again. And that's the general shape of U.S. equities. You see that in the smile. And the at the money implied volatility, where things are trading right now, usually has implied volatility in the range of, say, 8 through 14, something like that. And Basically, that number is how much a person expects the market to move in a given year. And that makes sense, right? It's roughly like, it probably moves like 10% a year on average. Of course, the range is wide. It can crash 50% or it can just be flat on the year. But that makes sense, right? And when you talk about commodities, which is another asset class, the vol smile is shaped like a smirk, but the smirk is in the other direction. And the out of the money calls are where they're the most expensive. It's because fear is to the upside. With equities, fear is to the downside, but with commodities, fear is to the upside. So what do I mean by that? What the market is scared of is a shock to the upside. So let's take crude oil, for example. People want the price of crude oil to be low, but if a war breaks out in the Middle East, the Suez Canal might be blocked. And it might be difficult to get oil to export out of the Middle East. And that'll shoot the prices of crude oil barrels up. Surprises and bad news that hurt the market cause the price of crude oil to go up, not down. And that's why the implied volatility and the volatility smile is shaped the mirrored way of the S&P 500 volatility smile.
This is the exact, skewed that you see for GME as well. So the expected move typically is down, right? Like I said, who set the price for this chain? It's market maker, right? So again, this is how they rig the market. They just make it so impossibly expensive to bet on the upside because they are afraid that it's going to go up in value.
Because the market knows and understands that. What about Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a perfectly symmetric volatility smile. It's U-shaped. When you compare that to S&P 500 and commodities, it's almost combining both. It means there's fear both to the upside and the downside, which is interesting, right? There's information there. It means that the most informed people in the market are both afraid that it's going to crash, and if it crashes, it could just completely free fall and keep crashing, or it can have this melt up. And if it goes up, it'll just keep soaring and just go absolutely vertical. And that is the level of uncertainty in the crypto market, where the most informed people in the market who push the market price, who push the price of the options up or down, they've settled on a U-shaped volatility smile, meaning that the market can both go up violently or go down violently. And
so that's important, right? Because with that kind of sentiment, you could see that, the market fear that market maker fear that GME is going to go up violently, and so the downside is skewed towards the downside. And the downside, again, when it comes down, it's typically not that much. I mean, depends on, the price base, right? Look at this. Now, again, it's because they make it so easy for people to buy put, right? That's why people are like, oh, my put is printing and all that stuff. Again, that's a lie too, because again, they could just, your option, whether your puts or your calls, could really diminish in value when the price is doing nothing at all, right? And so unless you short it way up here, when you buy put up here, yes, great, right? But you have to make sure you buy a long-term put over there if you want to bet it that way. And so with that in mind, the fear is to the upside for GME, in my opinion. That's, again, as a long-term shareholder, you are skewed. You're bound to make the floor higher.
At the money volatility, which determines basically where the market thinks the average volatility is going to be, is also very high as compared to, say, the S&P 500. So the market is inherently not confident about where the price is going to be at all. All that information is right there in the market in front of you if you understand how to interpret options data. So why is that the most useful information? Again, it's because the options market is the best information available in the world. Anyone in the world can trade in this market. Where the price ends up going, whether it's the volatility smile, implied volatility itself, or the underlying asset class itself, the price of Bitcoin, it's always settling where the supply and demand meet most closely. Again, people with the deepest pockets who can push the price the most are also the people with the best information. And this is just natural, right? The richest people in the world have the most expensive and the most competent fund managers. The biggest whales and the people with the most money are usually the ones dictating where the price goes for these different asset classes. So you don't need to subscribe to anyone's newsletter. Some random guy who claims to be an expert and points to some made-up cherry-picked data of their historical success buying and selling stocks. Like, you don't have any evidence that they actually had any success. And even if they did, they could just be getting lucky. You can skip all that and immediately know what the smartest, richest people in the world think about where the future market will be of that asset class by simply looking at the options market. They've pushed the implied volatility of Bitcoin up because they think it's a very risky asset class, and they've priced the puts and the calls on the downside and the upside very high. And so that's information I want people to kind of internalize. And to give you a more kind of clear example of what I mean by that, let's talk about election betting odds. There are live markets for things like betting on who's going to become the president of the United States. You'll find that the election betting odds are a better predictor of who's going to win than actual polls taken by news sites and polling companies. And it's the same with Nancy Pelosi, right? Like, or other politicians. They might say in a crisis like COVID's under control. We don't expect it to spread any further. But then when you watch her personal portfolio, she's buying Pfizer stock. What does that tell you, right? It tells you to watch people's actions, not their words. And it tells you that politicians lie and social media grifters who are trying to sell courses to you lie. Everybody lies, but money never lies. That's what it tells you. And so if you want to know what something should be worth, follow the money. And the way you do that is by understanding how to interpret the options markets. That's where you get the most accurate and efficient pricing data on what something is worth. Ignore all of the talking heads and all these grifters, right? The market has no idea where the price of Bitcoin is going to go. There are bull cases and there are bear cases. It's yet to be seen how either will shake out. Bull cases, this is digital gold. All central banks are just inflating their fiat currencies. Other countries are adopting it, like El Salvador, and institutions are adopting Bitcoin. Yeah, these are all valid bull cases, bull arguments. Bear cases, well, why does it have to be Bitcoin? Yeah, sure, there's a fixed number of them, but that can be said about Litecoin or any other like forked Bitcoin. So why have to choose Bitcoin? Just because it's the first mover?
Well, why Bitcoin? I guess it's the best superior, form of technology that has to do with instant settlement. That's it. Why not Bitcoin Cash? Well, Bitcoin Cash has its own problem, right? The blocks is too big or whatever, so too much information. That's kind of introducing a risk to the network. So Bitcoin has that perfect effect where, okay, not enough information, but just enough information to know how many Bitcoin per wallet has. And that's it, right? That's why, again, nobody could really hack into the network to create more Bitcoin yet, since its inception. So, and again, the 51% attack thing hasn't never happened because, again, the competition for Bitcoin is just so high that, anyone who's, mining Bitcoin, knows that every single 4 years you have to increase your power by twice as much to make the same amount of Bitcoin from mining. And so, the energy, unless you are able to just double every 4 years, the capacity of mining Bitcoin, you cannot compete with other people, right? And then, or compete with the miners that there is. So, and again, that's why there's correction every single time. It's built into the system where, it's skewed towards the Bitcoin holder. It gives the power to the Bitcoin holder. So again, it's fascinating to learn about it. But if you want to learn a lot more, I'm sure there's so many literature about it to really know the technical side of things. Again, it's all about technology, right? If the technology is superior to any other one, people are gonna naturally fall into those best case, best pristine form of cryptocurrency, if you want to look at it that way. Why not Litecoin? Well, Litecoin, again, it has its own, pro and con. Maybe Litecoin is not as famous, That's another aspect as well. Nobody really, kind of built on Litecoin network. So that's another piece of information that you might, kind of determine the price and determine the popularity. Everybody knows about GME, right? And depends on which information you subscribe to, right? Whether it's a shit company or great company, you're gonna make bets accordingly. But eventually, those people are gonna, come to realize the truth of whatever the price is, right? So again, that's what the market is. The market is people agreeing or disagreeing with each other on the price itself. So that's all it is. I mean, the simplest form of it, right? Of course, there's a manipulation aspect of it that gives skewed to us where, shareholder gets, the long-term shareholder is going to win. And that's what Warren Buffett is taken aside of. That's why he holds more than 10 years. Okay. So, I mean, it's very simple when you think about it that way. And don't worry about, people predicting the price. Like even this may not even play out too. But again, if you see this correlation, right, what are you supposed to think? Each turn, it's just like, okay, how much money is in the system? Therefore, again, this is why I'm saying the printing effect, right? When the inflation is 2%, 3% up every year. Like my insurance just went up. Car insurance just went up. And I was like, okay, let me just take a look at the percentage growth from that. And it's 11% up from last year. Right? And so when they're telling me that the inflation is only 2%, 3%, it's adding up over the year, 2% every month, 2% every, it adds up. So now from year to year, my insurance is 11% up from last year. So that's the dilemma that we have as a consumer. And asset class like this type of inflation will bring higher prices because of the inflation. Because there's so much money out there. Rich people have way too much money. So what do they usually do? They buy asset. Any type of asset. Doesn't matter whether it's Bitcoin or whatever. Again, Bitcoin is just a new asset class right now that is small enough for these people to be like, okay, it's low enough for me to have some allocation in it. And there you go. And that's the bet, is that over time, when people grow up, like people like me, people like, whoever's listening, who's like 18-year-olds, right, is going to become 20-year-olds, in the next few years. And then next decade, 30-year-olds. What are the 18-year-olds thinking about right now, right? They are more inclined to technology. So, of course, Bitcoin is going to be the top, growth that you could see because, again, younger people, right? Just like back in the 80s, 90s, 20 or whatever, the younger cohorts was into internet. So therefore, internet becomes big because we grow up in the internet world, right? Back then, the 90-year-olds today didn't even know what World Wide Web was, right? What is World Wide Web, right? But it takes the internet at least 50 years to mature to where it is today. And so with Bitcoin, the transfer of value over the internet is another layers of innovation in that sense. So I'm telling you, the future is bright for crypto for sure. And this is a next level of innovation. Whether it's gonna control us all, that's gonna remain to be seen. the scary thought is that it might be trackable, right? They're gonna program it so that you can't even save anymore. Anytime you make money, they expect you to spend it. So that's up to us to fight for. I'm sure freedom and all that stuff. So just protect yourself until that time. Hopefully, you don't live to see it happen. I don't live to see it. I think it's going to be another 20 years worth of fighting. But hey, that's just my, doom and gloom thoughts for the dystopia that it will be. Okay, so let's move on to this discussion here. Now, this gentleman was talking about like MicroStrategy. I guess he's well versed on the MicroStrategy strategy about buying Bitcoin, raising senior notes to buy Bitcoin, 0% interest, and whether he thinks it's a good idea or not. So let's listen in here. I'm not quite sure I'm gonna play. It might be a long clip, so just a heads up. Hello, Carter. What's up? They only be afraid of calls if they have a large short position on the stock. Okay, cool.
See them actually do it. Let's see them close it. Let's see them issue it. Let's see them actually deploy that into Bitcoin, because that hasn't happened yet.
Hold on, let me see. Let me go back here.
Going on lately. I can already hear the chat saying, well, then why isn't price moving? We have Ben Workman here with us again today. What's up, Ben?
Oh, thank you guys for having me back. I mean, this has been an amazing week in my world. I mean, these are the types of announcements that light my feed up. So it's going to be really fun to dive in and chat about everything that's going on out there in the markets right now.
And shout out to Mara for supporting the show, helping us make these conversations possible, and for securing the Bitcoin network, the most secure computer network on the planet in the history of humanity. It's an amazing thing, and Mara does good work there. All right, guys, let's just jump right into it. GME, GameStop, everyone's favorite meme stock, the original OG meme stock, you might say, has now merged the worlds of Wall Street bets and meme stocks and Bitcoin, which I would have to imagine will be proven to be a formidable force. Let's kick it off with Ben, who is the expert on the subject matter. Here's Saylor tweeting, "Let the game begin." It was a $1.3 billion raise to buy Bitcoin. Ben, give us the overview. How do we get here?
It's 1.3 billion for now, right? We'll see if they take that option. It's probably closer to 1.5 billion, but we've kind of been waiting for this one for a while now. I mean, it seemed to make all the sense in the world. And when people were talking about which company did they think had the best opportunity to run a MicroStrategy playbook and reinvent themselves, the first answer had always been GameStop. I mean, when they took advantage of the last craze and they really capitalized that company again, and they were sitting on all this cash, it seemed like such a no-brainer for them to go down this path and really reignite this company, which I think they're going to do. And the most interesting thing probably about this entire story is going to be the retail base overlap. Yeah. MicroStrategy on its own has grown this really huge retail following, which keeps them out there in the media. It keeps them in the news cycle. You've got this rabid fan base, of which I'm included in, that follow every move that they make. And when you get that type of support out of a retail base, it does something different for your equity than you see with any of the others. And so now you're taking that rabid fan base and combining it with the GME apes, right? All the guys that have been in that trade forever. And I think this is going to reignite them because they had gotten to a point where the trade had changed so drastically, right? It's no longer this company that had this greater than 100% short interest, right? That had waned down. I think their short interest is like 7.2% at the moment. Like the short squeeze narrative over there is over. It was time for a massive reinvention. And what a way to make a splash than to go and announce the Bitcoin treasury.
What is this? This is a bot? Oh my gosh, guys, let me hide this. Remove. There we go.
After all the teasing Ryan Cohen had done. And it initially confused a lot of people, and me included. I had to think about it for a little bit when the first move I saw them make was to go out and launch a convertible bond when they're sitting on $4.7 billion of cash right.
So let's talk about this real quick. So this is the hidden gem that people don't realize, right? When you think about like the enthusiastic nature of traders coming in, and again, this is why I don't mind traders coming in, you guys. Like again, traders are the one that will send the price up and down. Yes, down we don't care, but again, as a long-term shareholder, obviously for me, anytime the price come down, I just buy more, right? It's the simplest thing ever. And to me, again, like what is it? That's the one strategy that is proven to work for me anyway, right? And if the price goes up, yes, you have the option to sell if you want, to get out if you want. But again, to me, why would I get out of the best asset class in the world, right? Bitcoin, whatever, right? But anyway, my point is that he was talking about the fan base that will keep GME on the news cycle for a long time. That and that's why I'm saying, like, that's the hidden value that people don't even like know how to evaluate that. How can you evaluate on free free advertisement, from just people talking about GME, whether it's good or bad, right? There's no such thing as bad publicity, you guys. I'm telling you. So it keeps people coming back for more. It's like, okay, what is the discussion about? Like, why is people still talking about GME, right? It's been 4 years, like, with these people, talking about the trade. Now, from this perspective, though, he's only talking about the trade, meaning like the price action and all that stuff. It has nothing to do with the company itself. Yes, the company could have a lot of catalysts, a lot of things that's going on. But as far as the company go, though, we are safe. This is the safest, well, in my opinion, okay, I have to preface that. This is the safest company to be in at the moment in time. You know why? Because the balance sheet, look at it. Billions of dollars right now, right? So there is an unbelievable, incredible safety net that long-term shareholder get to enjoy. And of course, that safety net begets a lot more of institutional eventually, right? When they pivot from short to long, eventually, whenever that happens, right? Hopefully soon, right? If it happens soon, great. If it's not, then okay, we'll wait a little bit more. Again, perhaps they don't have the money to buy GME yet because their money is stuck somewhere else, right? Or it's just not in their radar quite yet. But we are creeping back up there. We are going to be on their radar soon. And by that time, I sure hope you have enough shares to benefit when the rocket takes off. And again, like, people who've been here less than a year, of course, can become very antsy. I get that, because the price. Don't worry about the price. The price will be repriced soon. Okay. When these institutions come in, and now you have these traders coming in, enthusiastic again. And mark my word, eventually these traders gonna come back to the stock, and they're gonna love talking about the stock again. I'm telling you, within a couple months here, when the price keep going up and up, right? They're gonna love it. They hated it before, right? It's like, oh, it's a piece of shit, right? And of course, the haters gonna come back too. They're gonna be like, I'm gonna short this company. These people are stupid, right? And when they put that short position in, inevitably, the minute GME tick back up to like 5% up, they're gonna X out of their position at a loss, or forced to, right? So again, that's why the violent price action is going to come into this company. Just be prepared for that. I'm telling you, I'm so excited for that. I can't even sleep, type thing. Okay. Remember Moran's spots attacked after the finish talking to him. Oh my goodness. Hey, Morans, what's up? Oh, okay, cool. I'll be enjoying that. So always amazing, piece of information to groundbreaking. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you so much you hear it first, you guys. Connect the dot part. 90. Are you coming on immediately? I'm gonna end this live right now if you're on. We'll just enjoy your information. But yeah, real quick. So let me see.
Right now, I think that confused a lot of people, but it actually makes an absolute ton of sense if you look at the setup for a company like MicroStrategy. If they're serious about running the playbook, what they want is they want to get their balance sheet to a leveraged position against Bitcoin somewhere in the 20 to 30% range. So if you go and you run the numbers on if they converted their cash balances to Bitcoin, plus they use these convertible bond funds into Bitcoin, it puts them at a leverage ratio of about 31%. So they'd be sitting in just the perfect area to generate that volatility in the equity, which they've been known for in the past. It's going to be kind of a welcomed refresh to all the people that are rabid fans of the company. So I think it's an amazing move. And I think that it's the right type of business that you take this strategy, you reinvent yourself, and you show your shareholders that you're focused on another way to generate value for them.
Is this about the size that the market was expecting?
So if they were doing that math, it would be, right? I think that everyone's waiting for the cash purchases, quite frankly, right? I think they wanted $1 billion plus, so it feels right. And even Saylor, he had retweeted something that someone said asking what was the right size for them to buy. And they said at least $1 billion, right, as a starting point. And they've exceeded that. And if they get up to 1.5 billion, that's a pretty significant entrance into the market, particularly when you figure that the next closest to MicroStrategy is Marathon. And I think they're at 46,000 Bitcoin, somewhere around there. And so Gamestop has the potential here with their cash balances and the money that they're raising to put themselves into that second place slot. And that's a pretty high visibility spot to put your company in. So I think it's a pretty good strategic move for Gamestop here.
I mean, everybody is excited for this, right? Okay, so Marantz. Okay, cool. All right, well, I'll just continue to be live until you go on live. Just let me know when you're live. I'm gonna end abruptly. It's like, gotta watch Marantz. Okay, thank you. Okay, anyway, so the enthusiastic about this particular strategy, I feel like, again, the combination of two of my favorite heroes here, Bitcoin and Ryan Cohen, coming together to fight for the same cause. So again, it's fun to watch. It's going to be fun again, and I'm telling you, you better have some I guess, what is the, like, not peel, that's coming out wrong, you guys. I'm saying you better be prepared for what is to come. Okay, hold on one second. The point that he was talking about how MicroStrategy was giving a playbook already, like if you want to buy any significant amount of Bitcoin, then start with just $1 billion or more, right? So $1 billion, 1.3 billion is pretty, substantial. And again, that's why I'm saying, like, if Ryan wants to be lethal, right, just go all in for now. And you could, again, trim it. You don't even have to stay in Bitcoin for a long time if you know how to time it right? As an investor, I'm sure he look at any parameter out there, or have some expert analysts that give you the research that you need to get into any asset class that is of this side, right? And with the popularity of people always wanting to buy it from you, obviously it's a no-brainer. But okay, if you look at the trend line right here, is this what we're kind of inching back to? So my thought is that, within this couple of months, because of the tariffs and all that stuff, GME is positioning themselves so perfectly, you guys. I'm telling you, even just like half, April 3rd, the third week of April. Goodness, the third week of April, right? Mid-April, that's the perfect time if it curls like that to try to scare people out, and then it immediately goes up. Remember that the liquidity zone where this right here, that's perfect, right? And so when the offerings is done, which is around April 1st, April 2nd is the tariffs announcement. People gonna freak the F out again, right? They do that all the time. but when Bitcoin do that curve, GME is gonna have the opportunity to buy closer to where Michael Saylor is getting. Okay, now if we're even luckier, right? Bitcoin's gonna reach that 70,000, and then setting up for another leg up. So currently, again, they're trying to drawn out the pain for retail to be like, and be ready for the negative, the negative news surrounding GME, surrounding Bitcoin, that it's gonna be so challenging for anyone to hold on to Bitcoin. Kramer's gonna come out here and gonna be like, oh, this is not looking good for Bitcoin. No, I wouldn't buy it right now. He does this all the time, you guys. I'm telling you. Like over here, go back in time, and go back in this particular time period. What did Kramer tells you to do? Oh, it's coming down. It was the worst time. It's going to go down. Don't buy it. Don't touch it. This is not the time. What happened? A couple years later, obviously, and they do this all the time. I'm telling you, it's becoming exhausting at this moment just to say about it, right? So be prepared for that. Okay, let's continue on here.
Does anybody remember how big MicroStrategy's first Bitcoin buy was? I'm asking Grok right now. Let's see.
Under $1 billion, right?
500 million is
what I meant. 500 was
that's what I had in my mind too. It was about 500.
Yeah. Brady, since you brought that up, I will say this. This was one of the things that Saylor said at some point in the last 6 or 9 months that really helped me kind of understand what he's doing and what other companies are doing. And I think 500 is the number. He said it took MicroStrategy 30 years to acquire $500 million of Bitcoin. He's referring to, I guess, how long they had been around prior to 2020, enterprise software, whatever else they did. They had that much cash, retained earnings, whatever you want to call it. That's how much Bitcoin they bought. Then he says, over the next 4 years, we bought $10 billion worth of Bitcoin, tapping the capital markets. And then he goes, over the next 4 weeks, we bought $15 billion worth of Bitcoin. Those numbers might be a little bit different. That's what I remember them, but the magnitude is close. And that's what really made it click for me. I was like, whoa, they're acquiring more Bitcoin this way by tapping the capital markets. Just think about how long they would have to exist as an enterprise software business intelligence company to acquire $25 billion worth of Bitcoin, right? It's like centuries. So that's kind of the layman's terms version of I think what they're doing here.
Yeah. MicroStrategy's first purchase was August 11th, 2020. They bought 21,454 coins for $250 million. Pretty good deal.
Why that was.
Pretty good deal right there. Must have been right around 22,000 or so.
I honestly, man, I think the market is still waiting for GME to actually do it. I think because if you read it, it says we're raising for general corporate purposes and we might buy Bitcoin. I'm not saying they're not going to deploy most of it in Bitcoin, but it seems like there's some way you can read it where you don't actually know if they're putting that whole amount in. And I think there's a higher degree of skepticism on GameStop than like on Saylor. When it's Saylor, you know what's going to happen. This is their first time. And I do think people that are outside of the Bitcoin space that haven't seen this are still like, I mean, let's see them actually do it. Let's see them close it. Let's see them issue it. Let's see them actually deploy that into Bitcoin, because that hasn't happened yet. And I think you're not going to really see the full impact of this event until it is actually like finalized and done. I think there's a lot of disbelief in the market.
And I'm one of the people that falls into that camp. I've been saying that as well. I'm to the point with a lot of the treasury companies where we're in the show me phase now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that like to talk about it. It does generate a lot of buzz around your equity. People are wondering what you're going to do.
Correct.
But you want to see the execution. And the thing that makes Saylor so unique, and he says it himself, is that he tries to establish trust in the markets by telling you exactly what he's going to do. He's never going to hedge. He's going to do everything he says. And when he gets money, you know where it's going. We don't know that yet with GameStop. Now, that wording is a very general wording that goes in these offerings. Even MicroStrategy has it. Sure. The difference is Ryan Cohen isn't out here doing the media cycle going, we're buying Bitcoin, we're getting as much of it as we can. This is the new direction. And I think that's what the market's ultimately going to want, to become true believers that this is a transformation and this is the next evolution of how they're going to reignite this company. And they've got an interesting value proposition. I mean, when I pulled up their last 10K, they've got like $145 million of free cash flow from operations, And that's just under 3 times what MicroStrategy has. Now, MicroStrategy has scale at this point. They've achieved escape velocity that you're not going to catch them.
Yep.
But compared to all the other companies that are launching this right now, that's significant scale to continue to be able to make acquisitions in this space. And you've got cash flow that can support that, even if you end up needing some either coupon payments on the bonds, or if they launch preferred equity and they've got a dividend associated with that, they do have some cash flow that gives them flexibility to maneuver in the market. So they're a unique one to watch, and they're going to pique a lot of people's interest by making this move. But I think you're absolutely right. It's that first purchase announcement.
Yeah,
that's going to really ignite the enthusiasm.
Correct, because you just can't fully believe it yet. I would give
real quick, Stephen. That this is sort of like the situation with the strategic reserve, right?
I was just about to say,
yeah,
this, yes. I think it's in both of these categories. You have what could be these huge and extremely material shifts in the market, but I'll tell you, people just do not actually believe it, and they're not going to believe it until the buys come. Now, in both of these scenarios, I would give you 80% plus odds that GameStop is going to buy the Bitcoin, and also that the SBR is going to make purchases, right? So I think both of these scenarios are very likely, and it's correct to be quite bullish on them. But I think for so many people and investors in the market, Bitcoin is so out of left field. They don't follow it closely. They don't know these treasury company stories. And it's not like they don't know how to make sense of it, and they won't make sense of it until it's actually happening. And then with GameStop, there's the added question of what Ben said of first of all, of that 1.3 or 1.5 billion, do they buy 1.2 billion in Bitcoin, or do they abuse it to raise cash for the corporation? Again, I don't think that's likely. And I think they'd struggle to sell the converts. And I think there'd be those dialogues. So it's unlikely, but I think most of that money comes in and buys, right? But then there's this added question of, but are you going to commit? Are you going to commit? Are you going to keep doing it? Are you going to keep buying it? Are you going to deploy the cash? Are you going to do the ATMs? Are you going to do the converts? Or is this a one-time thing? And also, if your stock falls on hard times, you're going to sell the Bitcoin. Are you going to be holding this for the long term? We don't know that yet. Now, I think there's reason to be generally optimistic from the outside. He's been meeting with Saylor. He obviously has been having this conversation. I'm sure Saylor has been very clear that look, you need to do this thing if you're going to do this thing. And they're very well positioned to benefit from it. But we still just have to see that play out.
Well, and the businesses have a lot of similarities to them in terms of the trajectory that they were in, right? I mean, now you've got GameStop kind of turning into that zombie. They had that brick and mortar business, but how long is that for this world? They're hitting that point where you're at this inflection. And if you don't have a good transformation opportunity in front of you to reinvent your business organically, then you're essentially building a war chest for when you figure that out, right? Yeah. And I think that's kind of how they're looking at this. Now, it's all speculation because we haven't heard Ryan Cohen come out and give his direct view on Bitcoin, right? Is he a true believer in this like Saylor? I mean, no one's going to question Saylor's belief in holding Bitcoin as an asset for your company, right? He's very clear about it. He's been one of the ones pushing that harder than anybody. We don't know that answer yet with Ryan Cohen. And
well, let me answer that for you. I feel like, as a close follower of his cult, okay? I feel like, when Ryan Cohen decides to go into something, he's not doing it half-assedly, okay? He's going to be thorough. He's going to be, doing every research that he needs to do in order to get into something. And this is what I love about this leadership. Him, the CEO of my heart. It's like, I dubbed him the CEO of my heart. But I really feel, when Ryan Cohen got into something, he doesn't do that. And, it's a testament to, Nat Turner. I keep bringing up Nat Turner, right? Because, again, that's providing me with the insight on how he was treating the PSA graded card and the whole, pivoting to that sector of service base and buying and selling the most profitable items in the universe over here. Okay. So in my thought on that is that, he doesn't go into Bitcoin and just following Bitcoin just to have fun. No, he's really trying to provide, the best value proposition for the company that he's running, which is GME right now. And so to answer that question, yes, he's going to be, maybe not all in, but doing it in the safest way possible, very conservatively, which is to raise cash just in case, right? And then you have, the 4 point whatever, just to be in the marketable security for the business to move forward. Had the incredible safety net that even if the business fall on the hard time, he doesn't have to sell Bitcoin to do that. However, again, he could also trade this perfectly as well. That perhaps he is timing for that super cycle to come in, because again, he has the business analysis, the investment arms of the company that are, thinking of it as a Berkshire Hathaway route as well. So you have the best of both everything in GME. And people are not realizing that yet until they see big numbers. Then, oh, okay, $1,000 a share. Then people are starting to like, oh, wow, now they pay attention, right? They don't want it at $20 a share. No, it's a shitty company at 20. But Kramer's going to tell you to buy at 1,000. I bet you anything. So again, that's why I'm saying, like, be ready for that news, right? When he's saying, like, buy GME at 1,000, you might want to take some profit. I'm just kidding. I don't know. But I'm telling you, like, it's coming.
I think that coming out and engaging that investor base is going to be really important for him to build that trust with the investing community, that we can believe in what he's doing here and that there is a vision and it's not just a one-time attempt to gain headlines, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, MicroStrategy was in a similar situation. They were, Saylor has talked about this. They were facing a choice. It was like, die a slow death because they weren't growing anymore, or, take a chance and plow all the cash reserves into this, new store of value asset, and just take a chance. And of course, Saylor, like a proper maxi, ends up going all in and leveraging everything and just buying as much as possible. So the idea here that Steven tweeted is interesting, right? So we're currently at the stage where companies which cannot grow buy Bitcoin, like MicroStrategy, like GameStop, as we've been discussing. Soon we will be at the stage where companies that can grow buy Bitcoin. Thought that was a good insight on this topic. John, what are you? Where are you?
Yeah. First thing that I wanted to pose to you guys, has anyone seen the breakdown? Have they said how much of the 1.3, right? Or maybe higher, but 1.3 is the headline number. I did see that they say this thing, which is very common when you issue debt, GCP, general corporate purposes. So they said it's for GCP in addition to buying Bitcoin. Did you guys happen to see if they said, don't worry, guys, most of this is going to be used to buy Bitcoin? Or is there some chance here that they're going to be like, oh, actually, just for now, it's 100 million Bitcoin and the rest is GCP? That's on the table as far as you guys know?
It's technically possible, but I think like that would basically be rugging the convertible note investors. And I think there would have to be some of those discussions behind the scenes. Like if you're buying this convertible bond, and like, Ben, I'd love your thoughts on this after if you disagree, but like you have to think it's mostly going into Bitcoin. And if they just raised money for free, for zero, to just like spend the money like that, I have to think there's nothing in it on paper that would confirm it, but I have to think that would be not good.
Yeah, I mean, when you're sitting on $4.7 billion of cash as it stands, right, you don't really need the 1.3 for general corporate purposes because you've already got 4.7 for general corporate purposes. So I think while that's standard language in these convertibles, I think that you have to read into this one based on the terms they saw, right? The structure of this is almost identical to the last raise that MicroStrategy did, right? They got a slightly higher premium. I think their premium here is 37.5%. I think MicroStrategy got 35 on the last one. 0%. It's got the same 130% early conversion triggers in there. It's structured exactly the way we're seeing the MicroStrategy bonds being structured. So it would severely confuse me if they did anything with this money other than buy Bitcoin. I would have a really hard time justifying why they could go to the market and raise this money just to put more in the bank account, right? Unless they've got some real idea where they need an extra $1 billion on top of the 4.7, where they've got an immediate opportunity to really expand this business somehow. I think that it goes 100% to Bitcoin. That's my working belief at the moment.
And I agree. I think that's right. I just think there's this moment in time where there's uncertainty.
Totally agree with what you guys said there. I'll just offer one other point, which is if and when GameStop does convert most or all of this to Bitcoin, I will just remind everyone that there will be a lot of TradFi people out there who this does nothing for them. And actually, if anything, I'm talking about the TradFi Bitcoin haters. This like further entrenches their view that Bitcoin's a joke because they view GameStop as like violating all of their TradFi investing principles for the last 5 years, right? Meme stocks are not supposed to exist. You didn't read The Intelligent Investor. This can't happen. And now look, they're just buying Bitcoin. This validates that Bitcoin is a joke. Just get ready for those takes because they're definitely going to be out there in the traditional financial media.
Well, here's another thing for people to think about. So all the GameStop trades in the past have been this rally against traditional finance and hedge funds. Yeah. Now you just became partners, right? Yeah. So that investing community is going to have to grapple with that one because their whole battle cry has been going against the hedge funds.
Well, my belief in that is that not all hedge funds are bad hedge fund. Okay, there's good hedge fund out there who rooting for the success of something rather than the demise of something. Okay, so there's long hedge funds out there who see the opportunity right in front of their face. They're just there to trade it. There's hedge fund out there who are like, okay, well, this company deserved to have a leg up, so there you go. They invest in it. So again, don't just like, blanket statement on just, oh, hedge funds are bad. No, don't do that. No, don't cut your leg off, okay? Just like private equity, right? Not all private equity are bad. Only a handful that are just egregiously and seemingly more powerful than ever now, because they amass so much wealth by extracting, from businesses, from small business owners and all that stuff, right? So all that because Marantz have been doing a lot of research on that. Of course, those people exist, but eventually the power is going to shift to the right group of people. Hopefully, the Ryan Cohens and the likes, the MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor and the likes, who really, rooting for the success of something, rather than dismantling something that could be the next best thing for the economy, for the people, for humanity. I'm not saying GME's not yet at that level of like, you've got to have GME company as a shining light, right? I'm not saying it won't get to that point, but not yet. Hopefully we're going to be able to grow into that, right? The next Berkshire Hathaway type of value creation for the economy, for the people that invest in this company. And of course, Ryan Cohen is doing it based on his own, work ethic, right? That you don't have to extract from your shareholder base, that, every penny's put to work is working towards building something rather than destroying, other people's wealth, and so that you could, earn 2 pennies more than $2 billion more than your peers. So again, there is a good and evil aspect of this too that I love. And of course, I'm always rooting for the good people to win out. Even though, it takes a lot of energy, seemingly in this world for people who are a good force to win out, Because again, I truly feel that, I feel that for decades now, we've seen a lot of slimy character, seemingly just making billions off of people and nothing really happening to them. And, when you have a world that make billions off of destroying something, and it's so easy to destroy, you guys, like very easy to destroy. It takes much more of a character to build something from the ground up. And again, that's why, the character of the likes of Marantz and Ryan Cohen is what gravitating me towards this movement here. It's hard to say it, movement. No, it's like this type of investment really, I want this type of investment to win out, obviously. So I know people are like, well, don't be emotional on the trade and all that stuff. You're married to the stock and all that stuff, right? But somebody has to root out for good people to win. Otherwise, good people are just going to fall off the wayside, and nobody will pay attention to those, even though society needs those type of forces, Because eventually, who's going to have any amount of kind of support? But yeah. Anyway, let's get off of this soapbox. Like I keep saying, GME wallet to make it into the bank holding company, we can deposit All crypto too. Yeah, I mean, I think that's coming. Maybe in the next 5 years or so. That verbiage there. They were also thinking about stable coins, so I think it's coming. There's a plan in that arena too, because again, excuse me, the NFT marketplace is going to be the one that accept those, and they are, at least have some foot out the door with the wallets, and they already created the platform for people to create wallets and all that stuff. It's all on the shelf, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to the payment route soon. Just like X, right? X account and all that stuff. They're thinking about like making it a payment app, all of that. So that's remain to be seen, and future of growth for this company is still out there. But people, again, just like this gentleman was saying about how capital raised to buy Bitcoin is just to, for the general purpose of big idea later on that may come out. And since this is the opportunity to raise 0% interest rate and to buy an asset class at the very opportune time, it would be stupid not to do it, right? That advantage for Ryan Cohen to be able to raise this amount of money, because again, through his reputation here, through his deliverance of turning this company around when people are telling him that it's impossible. Okay, everyone is telling that. And so that's the drive that he got from that. So, and when people are like, oh, he's diluting shareholder again, you're stupid. You don't know anything about like how raising this type of money, like Morantz was saying, if Apple were to raise money, you think they're gonna be able to get it at a 0% interest? Good luck. Good luck to have somebody just giving you 0% interest rate to the tune of billions of dollars here. We're not talking about $2,000 here, okay? So with that alone, the ability to raise money. Remember, he was talking about how before he became for Chewy, he went to hundreds of capital, race event, and they say no, to him, and he never give up on those. So to come from that person who were not able to raise money to now be able to raise billions of dollars just of his name, reputation, and the amount of work that he's put into this company, it's a testament to his success already. And to say that, he's just there to take from shareholder, again, you're stupid to think that. Or maybe I'm stupid because, I'm a shareholder of the cult. But you have to, separate the two where, okay, so dilution doesn't mean bad, okay? Depends on what you do with that money. Yes, if he raised money to buy private jet for the company, for the executive, yes, that's stupid. I agree. But what is he buying? If you buy asset class that increase the shareholder equity, yes, perfect. Bitcoin is one, right? Could buy other company, like I said, but again, Bitcoin is the best asset class for now at the moment. And so that's not to say that he can't do another. Yeah, but anyway, so I'm just kind of freeform my thoughts here because like people just don't understand this. Good luck with in cash. Good luck more than yep. GME already paid R&D then when it comes to yes. we did it, yeah, with the platform and all that stuff. And still, like, that's not a waste either. You know, people are like, well, they spent $200 and something million to build that platform, and now it fails. Like, regulation. Okay, so now they could bring that back up again to, you know, capitalize on this revolution of deregulation on crypto space. Oh, it's coming. Don't worry, it's coming next year, a few next years. You know, now we have the PSA graded card to be placed in the NFT marketplace. Can you imagine? Like, oh my gosh, you know, crazy. And the prospect of merging with the PSA too, like as a, you know, another arms of this investment. It's gonna be crazy, you guys. I don't think people prepare for the announcement the next few years for GameStop. GUB cultish right here. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's a compliment. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Funds and bringing down the traditional finance institutions. When you get into this type of a strategy, you're partners now. So that one's going to have to take a while to sit with them and digest.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah, you run into this all the time. I had a tweet on this topic, John. I just shared it down there if you want to pull it up. But you run into this constantly in the Bitcoin story where it's like, Bitcoin's only for criminals. Oh, Bitcoin's only for libertarians. Oh, Bitcoin's only for this or that. And I was making a joke that, like, where we're at right now is, oh, Bitcoin's just for public companies with declining revenues facing growth headwinds. It's like, oh, okay, I guess that's where we are now. It was just like, you know, criminals before. But you know, there's going to be haters on it, but it's like, this is what it looks like. And I agree with Ben. Like, you get aligned with a group of very passionate investors that, like, all get orange pilled basically once the stock starts doing well. Literally, the second GameStop starts going up because of its Bitcoin strategy, guess what? All of those people love Bitcoin. It's done.
Well, and it's the volatility that it brings, right? They haven't had that volatility in GameStop for a while now. And when you're a trader, you love having the volatility. It just reignites the options market. People are making money. They can get back to their covered call sellings. They've got all their exotic strategies where they're stacking all these different options against each other. I mean, it becomes this instrument where people are back to where they can make money using their strategies. And that draws in a ton of attention. People become fans just for that. It's the reason why MicroStrategy's derivatives market is so massive, right? I think that the notional value in the options market is as big as the entire market cap of the company, which is huge. So when you've got this, you know, legacy name like GameStop, that's how they kind of made their name, was through all these options traders coming in here and making a ton of money on it. I think this does reignite that type of an investor base. They may not like the method for how it's going to happen, but they're going to love the outcome of it. And I think it's going to bring that passionate group back to the table again.
I mean,
So who's the option king that we know of that lurking about? Our favorite, figurehead over here, rather than, you know, Ryan Cohen, Roy and Kitty, right? So again, you know, this type of thing is coming to GameStop, and people are not prepared for it. I'm telling you, when Roy and Kitty comes back the third time, and it's a matter of when, okay? Hopefully soon. So that's the lurking, nature of this price movement. And whether you think it's gonna, is it gonna go down or up? You think, huh? You know, you've got it so skewed to the downside. The minute that these traders coming back in, and hedge fund too, yes, this is billions and millions and gazillions of dollars being placed on the bet on either direction. So that's where the volatility will come. And again, just be ready for that. Don't be bogged down by the price coming down. Like I said, if it's skewed the other way, obviously, your job is to buy as many, as many as you can, if you can, possibly the safest way, right? And then to wait for that opportunity if you want to get out, I know people are like, what exit strategy, right? You have to have your own strategy. I already have my own in mind. And so, I'm not going to move until, the S&P 500. That's the route in which, like, I'm going to be a little bit more sane when it comes to price action. And of course, with this price action, with the balance sheets that we have, we are closer and closer to the S&P 500. And with this also, Bitcoin strategy as well, I think it's going to be sooner than we could imagine it to be. I know that people is like, oh, good luck, waiting for the S&P 500. We have the balance sheet to support it, just like Moran was saying about the top 5 holder companies out there of Bitcoin. Only one has the status of the S&P 500. So if GME were to buy Bitcoin, have the balance sheets for it, the earnings and all that stuff, we are closer to the 3 consecutive quarters of positive, and we're about to reach the first quarter. Hopefully we're going to be able to be profitable this coming quarter on June earnings. And I can't see why not. They already seemingly gonna close Canada store and French store, so we know that to expect that the next earnings report. And with the operational, kind of like close to break even on the annual side. Maybe look at that real quick here. I think it's coming. See. So unfortunately, this year we weren't able to come ahead, but we're short by $17 million. Not that much, you guys. We've been there before, over here, 13.9. So we just need to close a few more stores and, go through the pain of the news media just covering bullshit, right? But the cushion that we have is the interest payment from the cash that we have, for sure. And so to have that as a safety net, this is immensely rewarding for shareholder. Thank goodness, for the amount of dilution that has happened. We're not crippling, shareholder base here. And not only that, it provides the base for the next future of GameStop, next generation of GameStop, whatever that is, right? And so if we're able to generate yield and all that stuff too from Bitcoin and all that, jazz, which is, this is what the technology of blockchain is all about, trading in and out and all that stuff, or building our own exchange, right? That's also another arena in which we could get into. But we could just focus on the NFT marketplace, just making it easily accessible to the general public out there. So that alone, will give us that cushion for this, venture ahead of time. If we could borrow free money to buy Bitcoin, that's also another, at least prospect to raise more money for the future, endeavor that we might get into.
This might be an opportunity here to shout out MetaPlanet and the just, absolutely oversubscribed, overattended investor conference or meeting that they had this week. The room was absolutely packed. They'd never seen anything like that. And that's because traders and investors, well, traders in particular, love this kind of setup because the volatility is there for them to trade. You want to, if something's going like up steady or sideways steady, there's just no short-term gains to be had, right? So this is why traders thrive on the volatility and demand the volatility.
Well, MetaPlanet's even more unique because you've got an entire different culture behind it. I mean, MetaPlanet and the leadership over there, I'm seeing all these videos popping up on my feed where they're turning Simon and Dylan into these superheroes and these comic strips. I mean, it's amazing what they're doing over there. So you get an entirely different type of investor that's truly rooting for your success when you get these kinds of companies. And I think that's just such a cool side effect of this strategy.
Brady, can we shout out? I think you responded to Kai in the chat, his suggestion for what GameStop should rename to. I think it's really good.
Yeah, that was awesome. I think it was I lost it here.
Was it Game Theory?
Game Theory. Yeah, here it is.
Which is an awesome name.
Yeah.
That's a great name.
That is really good. That is really good.
It is really good.
You can also do game strategy.
Game strategy with a Bitcoin, yeah, there you go. It's a good one. Kai, you should reach out to Ryan.
When they did it, my tweet was game on.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do there.
Well, yeah, but so we have one thing we haven't talked about is I really see this assuming they follow through, like assuming they actually do the strategy and get this done. This is the first follower from Saylor. Like, yes, there's been these other companies, there's been MetaPlanet, there's been and that's true, and those have done well, but they're like these tiny little plays that, yeah, the stock price has done excellent, but MetaPlanet owned half a hotel building. Like, this isn't like GameStop, if they actually entered this strategy at scale, would be like the first follower to Saylor. And when you get that, it starts accelerating rapidly. Like, you think of it like Bitcoin spreads like a virus. Like, you had one person with the virus. It is now spread to the second person. This is where it ramps up. I've heard rumors there's a third company coming. I don't know how to vet the credibility of that. I don't know if anyone else has heard this, but I've heard people talking about there's somewhat credible rumors of an even larger corporation than GameStop coming. Either way, like, I think you're at this point where like it starts accelerating much more rapidly. It maybe took years from the time that MicroStrategy adopted it. If GameStop comes in and truly does it, we're talking months for the next one.
Well, this puts them in position to have a purchase here if they decided to deploy all their cash and all of the convertible bonds, where they could be buying 65,000 to 70,000 Bitcoin. And to your point, most of the entrants we've had in the market have been really small scale in terms of purchasing, right? The only time you really notice the major impact is when Saylor's out there in the markets and he's buying Bitcoin. Now you start layering in, 2 and 3 and 4 companies that are making billion-dollar buys in the Bitcoin market. If you don't think that that's going to have an impact on the spot price, you're out of your mind. We've seen it with one company doing it. Now you're layering in several others that are showing up at the door and understanding this. So it's going to expand, and I think it's going to expand quickly, because I do think that, to the point of your tweet, Stephen, I think that people are understanding that you have a limited time to build a strategic war chest before you become a reactive purchaser of Bitcoin.
Yep.
And there's no value add to being a reactive purchaser, right? It's the ones that have the foresight.
It's a defensive move at that point.
Exactly. You're either on offense or defense here. And it's the same for nation states, right? I look at it the exact same way for nation states. If you're not on the front end of the accumulation, and particularly before the United States gets into the buying game, then you're going to become a defensive buyer. And by that time, your ability to change your outcomes going to be a little out of your hands, right? Because if that price starts moving, the amount you can accumulate is going to decrease. So for these companies, you have to think the same way. And if you're a company that's had growth stall out on you, or you're in this kind of lull period where you're trying to reinvent yourself, because a lot of companies are zombie companies, right? There's tons of them out there. And you've got to figure out if you've got a way to inject growth and excitement back into your business, or if your business is just going to die off.
Yep.
And for a lot of them, I don't think you have anything to lose at this stage. I mean, the risk-adjusted entry here has never been better.
Yep.
All of those roadblocks that were in your ways, all the concerns with the SEC and the administrations, the country's trying to ban it, all of that is fading away. So on a risk-adjusted basis, there's never been a better time to look at this. And I think it's now becoming safe to talk about in the boardroom. You're not the crazy person anymore if you bring it up with your leadership teams and start discussing this. And I think now we're going to start to find out just how many executives have been orange-pilled in their personal lives that are now going to be emboldened to bring that into their corporate lives.
Yep. Absolutely.
There's talk, amongst Bitcoiners about why the price hasn't moved much. I mean, we're down $20,000 from the top, 25,000, and just kind of ranging around here. So there's been talk about price manipulation, or, not necessarily that it's like a conspiracy or illegal or anything, but just as, an outcome of Bitcoin becoming integrated into the traditional and larger financial markets, et cetera. They have some control over the price, right? Or be able to suppress it in some kind of, financial engineering techniques or whatever. So I don't know enough about the intricacies of the financial system to say whether or not that's a possibility. Is this just a matter of like, this stuff was priced in, and so we're going to range here for a while until we see bigger buys, or the United States?
Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna end my stream. I know. So you guys could go and search for this one if you want. Moran's on, so bye. You have to support our cult leader. Come on, that's the point. All right, let's go.